Law number 1. The law of the lid. The law of the lid says, leadership determines the level of effectiveness. The higher your leadership skill, the greater your effectiveness. The lower an individual's ability to lead, the lower the lid on his potential. Let me put it this way. The leadership level of an organization or a company or a sports team determines its effectiveness. Its effectiveness can go no higher than the leadership lid of the person who is in charge of that team. The lid of my leadership, in other words, will never allow me or my business to get any higher. The leadership lid controls and determines the size of my business. Since the law of the lid says that my leadership controls and determines the level of my effectiveness, one of the greatest things that I can do in my life is to learn about leadership, is to study leadership, to become a better leader, so that I can raise the lid and be more effective. For example, let's say my right hand represents the lid, the leadership lid, and my left hand is the size of my business or my effectiveness. If my leadership lid is 4, from 1 to 10, let's assess it as 4. My size of business can never go higher than 4. As I try to make it higher, it can be 3.5. It can get close to 4, but it can never go higher than 4. And that's the leadership lid. But as I learn and study leadership, as I try to become a better leader, as I practice leadership, my leadership lid gets higher. It becomes 5, 6, 7. As you see, there's a capacity for growth here, for my business, for my effectiveness, so that I can make it higher and be more effective. I can be more prosperous in business. Leadership ability is always the lid on personal and organizational effectiveness. And we said the reason about that. Okay? Always remember this gesture. The first law, the law of the lid. You need to learn leadership. If the leadership is strong, the lid is high. If it's not, then the organization is limited. That's why in times of trouble, organizations naturally look for new leadership. When a country is experiencing hard times, they look for a new president. When a company is losing money, they look for a new CEO. And if the CEO were any good, the company wouldn't go bankrupt. When a sports team keeps losing, they look for a new head coach. The law of the lid. They look for a new leader, new CEO, new coach, new president, because they need to change the leadership lid of that organization, of that team. Personal success, the reason for this, personal success without leadership ability brings only limited effectiveness. It brings insufficient effectiveness. The higher you want to climb, the more you need leadership. And McDonald Brothers are a great example for this. You can find more information in the summary about McDonald Brothers, Dick and Maurice. Another great example that I want to give you in this presentation is Steve Wozniak, who was the brain of Apple in 1970s. But his leadership lid was low. By contrast, there was Steve Jobs, whose leadership lid was high, who was such a leader naturally. And he built a world-class organization out of Apple. Finally, I'm going to give you 5 questions to assess your leadership lead and how to improve it. Answer these questions genuinely and accurately. The first question is, what is the lead number of my leadership? From number 1 to 10, you can assess a number. The second question is, would those around me agree with my assessment? Would those around me agree with my assessment? Those might be your colleagues, those might be your co-workers, your family members, or even relatives. It depends in what place or situation you are assessing your leadership. The third question is, what is my plan to increase my leadership lead? You need to set goals for that. Leadership is not a rocket science. You need to make progress practicing it. The fourth question, what are the lead numbers of those that work with me? Because people working with you determine your level of success. You need to know their leadership leads. The fifth and the final question, what is my plan to increase their leadership lead? How can I help and develop their leadership skills so that we can be more effective organizationally? Law number 1, the law of the lead. Thank you for watching.